system. Now the great news is the world has changed between 2004 and 2015, and for stem cells it's changed in a very great way, because we now have demand to have these programs run not as initiatives but as a machine, as a process that runs over and over and over again. And that is this big shift that CIRM is in the process of pivoting to. We have gone from an initiative-based approach to a systems-based approach, where every year, multiple times a year, all of these programs will be offered over and over and over again, and you will know when they're available. They will be linked up in a way that makes sense, so that when you're done with one stage of research, the next stage of research is there waiting to take you forward. And so you can see in discovery, offered twice a year, translational twice a year, clinical 12 times a year. All of these pieces are working together. So we've taken an initiative-based agency that was less predictable but highly responsive, and we're now turning it into a systems-based agency. And the thing that's enabled us to make the switch to a systems-based agency is the demand that we now have for these kinds of technology. So the first part of CIRM was very successful, creating the demand. Now our job at CIRM is, how do we take this demand and assemble these parts into a machine where every single thing we have, every single initiative we have at CIRM is now assembled into this giant engine that will accelerate things from the earliest stages of research all the way through getting these therapies to the patients that desperately need them as quickly as possible, and in a way that exists nowhere else in the world. So this is what we're doing sort of in a big picture. We are creating a giant, coordinated, integrated stem cell machine at CIRM, and I think this is a very, very exciting opportunity that we have to do this. We've seen this already with the clinical program, which launched in January, with the discovery and translational programs. All of those pieces line up and connect and link to one another, not as separate parts, but as an integrated machine. So other things that we've learned here, moving on. We had various stakeholder meetings. As I said, we had one in the very room that I'm in today. And one of the things that I heard in this specific room, I thought it was very insightful. I went up to Kevin after, I said, we've got to put that in the plan. And it was simply a question that was asked from one of the patients here. And that question was, this all sounds great, but what can we do? We're here and we want to help. What can we do? And we thought about that, and that's a really important part. So it's very clear that our patients and our patient advocates don't want to be spectators in this. They want to be active participants, and we've got to do that, and we have a plan for that. We also talked to, obviously, investigators from various institutions, all the institutions, and one of the things that we found was that they don't like doing boring translational research. They like doing the fun and exciting translational research. So things like doing mechanism of action studies and actually showing that their cell therapies make a difference. We didn't find a single investigator that really wanted to do a stability study or a preclinical tox study whose only purpose was to satisfy the Food and Drug Administration. And so we need to work on ways of helping them out there. Every single academic institution that we talked to, without exception, requested help in linking researchers together of various stages. So a discovery stage researcher that has an interesting technology that wants to move it into translation wants help identifying good translational researchers, translational to clinic, and all of these to industry. And so we need to work on that. And then lastly, CIRM needs to be a bigger deal to people outside of the otherwise CIRM community. CIRM is still appreciated and underrepresented in the general field of regenerative medicine, and that's something we need to fix. We need to dramatically increase awareness for this agency and what this agency is going to be doing.